So, as many of you know, the National Assembly, at least one of the lawmakers in the National Assembly, is currently seeking to amend the Nigeria Press Council Act, such that journalists and media houses can be fined 250,000 naira and about 10 million naira respectively by the NPC for infraction. Join us on the show now to discuss it is the president of the Nigerian Guild of Editors, Mr. Mustapha Isah. Welcome to the show, sir.
Good morning.
Good to have you on the show. Right, so...
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, we'll come to you, because I also want to even hear your views on this issue of social media. But the issue concerning the Press Council Act review, brought up by, I think it was Honorable Shegun Odebumi in the National Assembly. Yeah. Although some of his colleagues have said, he's on his own, no, we don't know what he's talking about, you know. But there have been quite a lot of responses from the Guild of Editors have said something, the NUJ have said something. In your view, because when I read the existing act, it wasn't so totally far from what is being proposed. I mean, unless maybe I read it wrong. But the issue that I heard people had was the fact that they must defer to the Minister of Information to get approvals for certain, the chairmanship and other various sections within the act. And I'm thinking, when I saw the original document, it was quite similar. So my question therefore to you, sir, what exactly is your reservation concerning this amendment?
Yeah, thanks for that question. And let me let you know that first and foremost, even the idea I tried to amend, the matter is already in court. We went to challenge that in court. As we speak, another matter is at the Supreme Court. That is why the law has not been applied. We challenge it in court, you know, because of the provision in that act. They are not trying to even amend and add more oblicious provisions. For instance, they are not asking that the Minister of Information should now be the person to approve the code of conduct for journalists in this country. It's not done anywhere, even in Iraq. It's not done. Who approves code of conduct for medical doctors? Is it the Minister of Health? It's not done anywhere. You know, now they say for you to seek to practice as a newspaper and all that, you have to seek, you have to apply to do this, pass through this process and all that. Let me tell you, when you want to make a law, do your research properly. Check what is happening in other clients, in other countries. And find out. In Ghana, I don't have to go to Western countries. In Ghana here, now they guaranteed freedom of the media in their constitution. Let me tell you what it says. You know, impediment to the establishment of private press or media, no law requiring any person to obtain license as a prerequisite to the establishment of operation of the newspaper in Ghana. Let me ask, are Ghana be set on fire because of this? No. We're talking about the media. You cannot ask a government appointee to regulate me, to tell me what to do, to now determine whether what I have published is in national interest or not. Because he's a politician. Because if you allow him to do that, it will be used to guard the critical media. But let me say this. Check the history of Nigerian media. Even under the military, we didn't have this type of law. We forced the military to stand still. Some of our colleagues lost their lives, so we now have this a shot. But you know what? Nobody will ever give you freedom. We are always fought for our freedom, and we'll keep fighting for it. If they go ahead to fight the way it is, we are going to go to court and challenge you. We use legal means. Already, the other they want to amend is already in court. This one is also going to challenge it. If they pass it the way it is.
Right. Okay, let me get a few more questions.
So,
go ahead.
One thing is, I feel concerned because it's as if media is being attacked on every form of media. But what would you say is the reason for this law being put in place? Is there any way you can justify the idea that would make someone want to put this law in place right now?
You know what? We are not averse to regulation. The way I say, for instance, you have the minister should not be the person that will not determine for us our code of conduct. Then if there's any infraction, you'll be fined 10 million, 20 million, and all that, and all that. Look, why don't you have an independent body? If you feel, for instance, law of libel is there. Law of defamation is there. If you publish fake news, for instance, it's part of, if what have you do, say I did it, that's libel. The law is already there in this country. Why don't you use that law to take me to court and prove the case in court? I mean,
Mr. Isah, let me be sure that we're on the same page. Because what I read is that a committee a council will be constituted that will involve parts of from the Guild of Editors, NUJ, I think civil society or also citizens. I mean, they put the whole gamut of people that will be involved. So it's not like the Minister of Information will have direct authority. So why is that still a problem?
Who approved that committee? Majority of the members will be government appointees. Let me refer to Ghana again. Ghana have what we call the National Media Council. Better groups are supposed to bring in representatives. You know, the lawmakers will bring two. Majority are from the private sector. After being appointed, they among themselves will elect a chairman. But in our case, the president will appoint the chairman on the recommendation of the minister, and they said that the board is going to be a mere advisory body. So, every secretary will have the say. That is why today, the board of NBC cannot follow the decision of NBC. The same thing they want to do now with the NBC, Nigerian Press Council.
All right.
So, the board will just be looking, and things are happening.
Let me go on a break. Let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still on this issue of the review of the Press Council Act. Joining the conversation now is the Deputy Lead Speaker, House of Representatives, Honorable Peter Akpatasen. Good morning, sir. Are you there?
Yes, good morning. I'm here.
Yes, good to have you to join the conversation.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Given the fact that many Nigerians seem opposed to this new proposed bill, what are your thoughts on it? Because we've even seen that many members of the House are almost saying that they are not totally in support of Honorable Odebumi on this presentation of the bill. What are your views on it?
Well, usually the House is divided on issues like this because we don't all look at things from the same perspective. Whoever is saying yes has a reason for saying yes, and whoever is saying no has a reason for saying no. You know, but the progress of a bill depends majorly on the input from members of the public.
Right.
Because ultimately, the final decision of the House will take into consideration public opinion on the subject matter, because we make laws for the public, for Nigerian people, not for ourselves.
Okay, go ahead, Noah.
So, sir, we are looking at, I am looking at the independence of the council as it is now. But with this amendment that we're seeing, is there no other way that the council can be structured and be independent of appointees of... Okay.
Well, you know, the essence of public hearing is for professionals and industry players to come to the House or Senate, as the case may be, to present their professional views and to guide the legislature on how best to go about it. But if that opportunity is lost, there is still, you know, a provision for people to come around with their professional views in writing to present to the House. Mr. Speaker has led the Ninth Assembly in such a way that the Ninth Assembly is very concerned about public opinion and therefore makes every opportunity available for members of the public and professionals, you know, to come in and make input at any level of at any point of the process of lawmaking. I think that these views can still be properly canvassed.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, so sometimes I wonder that when we get some of these propositions to the House, are there some that you could just call like dead on arrival? Because I'm
not clearly.
Okay, are there some bills when they come in, when they are proposed, you look at them and say this is dead on arrival? Because I'm looking at this new amendment proposal, and he's saying the powers of the Minister for Information. And it looks like we're now asking the Minister for Information to be involved in the nitty-gritty of chasing people, licensing people, prosecuting people. Are there no other things that he's doing already? And the original act is self-sufficient, in my opinion. When you look at it, what do you think?
Well, the issue of dead on arrival, I don't think it makes sense to me. Nothing is dead on arrival. It all depends on the issues, like I said at the beginning. And when people take advantage of the opportunity to make their input, it can then guide, those who are involved in the process of making law. But to think that anything is dead on arrival, as far as I'm concerned, it's not proper.
Okay, I have want to rephrase?
Yeah, no, I'm not rephrasing. It's good that he responded that way. But secondly, I need to understand when you already have one that covers everything, and then you're asking that the Minister for Information is involved in getting licensing, prosecuting, checking for print, finding people. So we're asking, when you see that compared to the original bill, what do you think, personally?
As a person, I think that at any point in time, law reviews. And if in the process of reviewing law, the public feels that certain content of the proposal offends, then they should come up with alternatives. You understand? I don't think that it is wrong to empower the minister, to perform those functions.
Okay, great.
Yeah?
So let me come back to the president of the Guild of Editors. He's back with us. Mr. Mustapha Isah, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Now, help me understand this, because we are regulated by the National Broadcasting Code.
Broadcasting Commission.
And the Commission also, and that we have the Broadcasting Code, which guides what we do.
Yes.
And we to get licensing, you need to go to the federal government, to the Minister of Information. These are things that we know. We get fined for things we say or not say that does not align to the handbook. So we are sort of regulated. And so for me, I'm still not understanding what the issues are, because remember what they need. Is it that the press was never really regulated? The only broadcasters were regulated? Because what I'm hearing doesn't really sound new on the side of, for those of us that have been working under the Broadcasters Commission. What is so different? That's my question.
Let me please read the history of the Nigerian media. The newspaper predicted to Nigeria as a country.
Okay.
Where the newspaper was established in the 80s. In the 80s also, in Abeokuta. The broadcaster has been regulated until IBB. The regulated it with a decree, I think 1980 something.
Yeah.
Because of fear that broadcast can be used to incite the public. The government still has that fear today. That is why today the broadcast media is overstated. They still have that fear. I just told today in my earlier that in Ghana today, they have a section in their constitution on freedom of the media, that there should be no law requiring any person to obtain license as a prerequisite to establish a newspaper. You see, when you want to make a law, as the honorable, as a lawmaker, please do your research, do your due diligence, check what is happening in other clans, in other countries. Otherwise, you'll be retrogressive. This law is taking us backwards. While other countries are moving forward, we are going backwards. How can you ask a minister to approve the code of conduct for journalists? There's no way that is done. Let me tell you, if the honorable means well for us in the industry, as they say they want to put the bill together, you call the critical stakeholders. There's an issue in your sector. How do you resolve it? We put heads together. Then one of us will not formulate the best way out, the bill. Then you see somewhere, put the thing together, and you say we should cover a public hearing. And let me tell you, we will never invite that people. I only heard it, nobody invited me. We're not, they didn't write to us. We just heard about it, just 3 hours in the public hearing. I was not aware. And I asked my colleagues in the NUG and others They are not aware. But when they are based in Abuja, they just quickly rush to that place to attend. If you mean well, why should that happen? Please ask the honorable, did he write to me? Nobody wrote to me. I'm so aware of it. Did you mean well for us?
Let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still on this issue of the Nigerian Press Council Act review, and Nima had a question.
Yes. Just to clarify, is there no way that the bodies that are already existing as the National Union of...
Hello, Mr. Mustapha, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay, yes, go ahead.
So the National Union of Journalists, your body as a body, can't the appointment of the council members be recommended by you for the president to appoint? Because as it is now, what is in that bill is that, the appointment will be based on the recommendation of the Minister for Information. And I find that, something that reeks of independence and control.
Okay. There are some bodies that are supposed... Can I go on?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay, yeah. There are some bodies that are supposed to provide the facility to the board or the NPC, Nigerian Press Council. The Nigerian Press is there, the Publishers Association is there, then the NEJ, and some other bodies. And they tell the lawyer. Let me take the case of Ghana, for instance. There are bodies that are supposed to present people, not recommended by the government, but by those independent bodies, including the Ghana Bar Association. After they have recommended their members to the board members will meet and elect their chairman independently. But in Nigeria, they say the president has to appoint on recommendation of the minister. And you know what happens in this country. Once you are appointed, people feel that you hold allegiance to the president. This is media for God's sake. That's how they have to say with the NBC. The NBC, the DG, takes order, directives from the government. Even little infractions in court, they will impose fine because they feel that you are too hard on the government and all that. And there's a problem. So we don't want that. This is the media. We say we should hold government accountable to the people based on the constitution that we have today.
Let me get a few more questions. Go ahead. Go ahead, Mara.
Okay, sir. So there are a few things that I see that the council may have some objections to, and I'm a bit concerned why, which is you call it the criminalization of the operations of media outfits, where the amendment is saying that whoever sells news, publishes, or prints without documentation will be fined. Why is that a problem? Shouldn't every print house have proper documentation and licensing before they go out before they start printing papers? Secondly, there's also the fake news part. Constantly here we're talking about regulating news, and the government is saying that those who have been found guilty of carrying fake news will be prosecuted as well, will be fined as well. Why is that a problem for the council?
Now, let me start with this license. I just read to you today Article 162 of the Ghana Constitution that has eliminated law requiring newspapers to register. But you may have a company, but you can float the newspaper. There are laws guiding the operation of newspapers all over the world, even in Nigeria. The law of libel, defamation, they are there. If you have that infraction, you go in for it. There are laws already there. We don't have a problem. We don't use existing laws. We are always looking for new ones that we will never implement. Even the issue of fake news, for instance. If I report that TVC has been shot or has gone under, and it is not true, that report has injured the reputation of TVC. TVC can go to court under the law of libel and defamation. Has anybody tried that? No. We are looking for new laws. I have never fake news. I will never. In my own station, we cross-check news before we broadcast them. What I'm saying is that Has anybody gone to court under law of defamation to challenge fake news? We have not done that.
Okay.
We are looking for new law.
All right.
We are looking for new law. Are we trying the existing ones?
All right, let me get a few more questions in for you. Go ahead.
Okay, so for me, I feel that historically, print press was a way for many people to express themselves. And considering the trends worldwide, there is a dying trend of print medias going down and people moving and migrating from print into social media, which is already happening in Nigeria. Would you say that this is a law to preempt that? Or would you say that the print media is already looking towards migrating effectively into using social media to propagate their information as opposed to printing? And how is the print media in Nigeria preparing for the future of people not buying papers anymore?
Even all over the world, and there have been big challenges about people in the US and that have migrated, that have stopped printing. They are now completely online. But let me make it very clear here. There is a difference between social media and online media. Social media, maybe Facebook, WhatsApp, Twitter. Am I permitted to use the word Twitter in Nigeria? And all that. Those are social media guys. And in those social media, there are no gatekeepers. But we have online media. They are different. Today in Nigeria, print media, they also have their online version. In fact, even TV stations, they have their online version. Everybody has gone online now. We know those ones. They are trained journalists, they are trained editors. That is why today, if I want to go and consult any news, I can go to Post Online, go to the Nation Online, go to Tribune Online. So
all right,
I know
Mr. Mustapha, let me ask you this. Yeah. The honorable member who just left, Honorable Peter Akwatasi, has said that when bills like this are brought to the House, what they do is bring in experts, stakeholders, to come for the public hearings, to share their views, because nobody's saying they're perfect. They're asking for your opinion. So my question, therefore, is have you been able to make yourself available to the National Assembly to express your own professional views on the issue of this amendment?
Please ask them. Public hearing, they didn't invite the critical stakeholders. I just heard 3 hours to the public hearing. Nobody invited us. That's why you have a sinister motive. Please confirm for them if they didn't write to me as the president of the guild. I didn't get a letter. You got the point. The publisher didn't get a letter. Anyone didn't get a letter. We just heard that there is a public hearing. If you mean well for us, write to me.
But let me ask you. Let me ask you a dumb question. Let me ask you a dumb question because I'm in the broadcasting circle, and I know that all our NBC code, our NBC code, obviously, is reviewed by the stakeholders. It took years. The current one we have right now took years of meetings, discussion, evaluation, and eventually they got the approval, from the Minister of Information. So I feel that the circle I am in is well regulated. So I find it kind of bizarre why press is throwing tantrums on this issue, because I feel that yes, we don't want gagging, absolutely, but are you saying that the Minister of Information should not in any way have any responsibility to your own print press circle? Is that what you're saying?
First and foremost, to use the word tantrums to describe our reaction, I think it's a misnomer. The number two, are you sure that the current NBC code was the product of the disclosure by the stakeholder? Even the board of NBC has declared the current NBC code as illegal. One found out, the chairman of the board said there were no meetings. Somebody just came up with this. Please Google it and find out. His name is Biblis, the chairman of the board of the NBC. Right. He asked the media in Abuja, this is only the current NBC code. That the stakeholders are not involved. Please do the step properly.
Right.
So they don't do the same thing here right now. Even as I speak now, the current NBC code is illegal because stakeholders are not involved.
Okay. All right. So fair.
Do the same thing also to the press council bill. You know, so we're not going to rest. We are going to meet on Thursday. The NPO will be meeting in Lagos. I mean, the publishers, the NUG and the DA. We're meeting in Abuja here. I mean, in Lagos, to come out with a common position on this matter. We are going to take a look at the entire bill, not just the NCC bill, also the NDC, because my membership cuts across both the print, broadcast, and online media. So I also I'm a broadcaster, from Silver Bay, for instance. So I know what is happening. Okay. So we are going to sit and have an alternative to this bill. We are not after the regulation.
In other words, our issue, sir, our issue is the assuming control of the Ministry of Information over our industry, on our freedom of speech and expression. Exactly. That's the real issue.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. So it's something that is worth talking about. All right. Thank you very much, sir. So it was important for us to hear your views on this. Thank you very much for your thoughts.
Right. And the advocacy from the press, the complaints from the NBC mirrors the complaints of many Nigerians on the social media bill as well. So I don't think Nigerians are against regulation. We know that there's need for regulation. It is the fear of abuse of power and the fear of our inability to express ourselves, that we are in democracy, but we will not be able to live in democracy. And most of us know people in China. I know someone that lives in China, and it is a case of you can't even say. If you say, you can be arrested, you can be taken into a camp and never seen again. And this thing starts subtle. It starts in a subtle way, and the next thing you realize that you now see a crime happening, and you are only looking. You are unable to speak up concerning, and we don't want to get to that point. So we're shouting now for...
me, what I find interesting is that there will be a public hearing on this, and the president of the Nigerian Guild of Editors is unaware and not part of the conversation. So that's what I was talking about, that when you're going to have anything to do with social media, print, freedom of expression, you need to involve the stakeholders. You can't do this by yourselves and expect people to trust the motive. You know.
Yeah. What you were saying about the NBC, I do recall that there were several meetings that I attended back a few years ago. We had in Abuja, we had in Enugu, where we discussed this NBC code review, and they told all the stations at the time, send in your recommendations, which we did. We sent in our recommendations at the time. But I think eventually when the code came out, there was that issue of, okay, this is not what we said we wanted, So there's always that distrust of, okay, where is this coming from? So that's why he's saying that even the current code that we're saying is not totally what the stakeholders actually agreed. So there's also an issue of distrust. What are you trying to do exactly? You want to have full control of media, which we're saying is the fourth realm. You cannot control.
It's supposed to check.
Yeah, it's
supposed to check
the government. Yeah.
It's even to release whatever dependence the old act had put, such that the ministry controls certain areas. Let's further expand and give them. If the judiciary is asking for autonomy today, so everybody should be independent of as much as possible of government. And we should regulate. Yeah. I just want to say happy birthday to the Minister for Works and Housing. We forgot her now.
Action Governor.
He's not a governor, he's a minister now.
Yes.
Okay, we appreciate you, sir. Well done.
Okay. He's minister. What else is
very
everything.
He's a friend of the family.
Yeah.
He's a friend of the show. He's a friend of the house.
Friend of the house. Very accommodating and very responsive.
Happy birthday.
Thank you, sir. Happy birthday.
Okay, anything else, ladies?
Yes, every link to the internet can be traced through IP address. Nigeria should build on its own cybersecurity agency to combat abuse of social media. Twitter or Facebook will not do what we should do ourselves. The right to freedom of speech is, however, remains sacrosanct. We need to build our own infrastructure.
Thank you very much, ladies. Okay, that's all we can take on the show today. See you again tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye for now.